ages, glory to glory, and from faith to faith.
Hi XCell, hi. Welcome back to another week of our journey through forensic faith. And this one's a really cool chapter because you guys are looking at what should we say. And so it made me think of a particular song, and this might be before your time, but it goes like this. All right, so that was probably way before your time, but if your parents are listening to that song, they'll definitely know what we're talking about. This week, you guys are looking at communicating. What does it mean? How can we communicate? Your title is actually thinking about their jury, thinking about the people that you are actually having to communicate with. And so in the last few chapters, you've had to do a couple of things. You've learned about the importance of collecting evidence. You've learned about making a list. And in this particular chapter, you guys are looking at, now that you've collected evidence and made your list, how can you communicate the evidence that you've been able to collect? So that's what this chapter is about. So before we roll on, I actually want you to play a game with your family. The next few slides, we're going to time them. You're going to see words popping up. And so you're going to have to communicate these words to your family. So if mom and dad are there, your siblings, all right? But you get a choice. You can either draw the pictures, you can either act out the words, all right? Or you can describe the words. You can use things to describe it, like the game Taboo, but you can't actually say the words, okay? And so you need to try and get your family to guess them using one of those three options. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one to use. You have to decide for yourself which one you are going to use to try to communicate these words to your family, all right? But the hope is that you know them well enough to choose the best way to communicate those words, okay? So choose either drawing, all right, or you can act them out, or you can describe them and try and get your family to guess the word, but you can't actually say what the word is, okay? So a bit like Taboo. All right, I'll leave you guys to it. Then I'll see you guys again real soon in order for me to wrap up our time together and then leave you guys to have some discussions with your family. All right, peace out. See you. So how did you guys go? Did you guys, were you able to work out the best way to communicate with your family? Did you, whichever option you chose, do you think that was the best way for your family to try and guess the words you were trying to communicate with them? Hopefully you guys had some good time. But the point of this activity was really to try to link in with what J. Warner Wallace wanted you guys to understand about knowing your jury. He points out that being a good communicator is actually really important when trying to present the case for Christianity, trying to present the case for Jesus. And so knowing how to communicate your evidence means that a big key to communicating is knowing who you are communicating to, knowing what they are like, know who you are actually talking to. And I think about it in a court sense. All right, when a lawyer, when a jury comes in and the jury is selected, both lawyers will make every effort to try to get to know who is in that jury, who's been selected, because the way that they present their case is it will be presented in a way to appeal to the things that they are aware of about their jury. And so J. Warner Wallace is sort of trying to help us to understand that skill, that when we are wanting to communicate what we know in the evidence that we have collected and in the things that we know about Jesus and his existence, we need to know the jury or the people that we are communicating it to, because then we can then present it in a way that would be a bit more easy to receive on their end. And so he says, to be a good communicator, you need to, number one, know who you are talking to. And he really hammers that point home. And he uses the evidence of where Tiana actually did a few things before she actually tried to share any kind of truth with Marco. He points out that Tiana became Marco's friend. She treated Marco the way Jesus would have treated him. She tried to get to know him. She listened carefully to Marco's questions. So she really tried to build a relationship by getting to know Marco before heading down any kind of theological conversation or any kind of conversation around Christianity. And so she really, J. Warner Wallace really focuses on the importance of, before you can share any kind of evidence, do you have a relationship with them? Do you know what they are like? That's one of the big things that he hammers home in this chapter. In order for you to be a good communicator, know who it is that you are talking to. He then also goes on and he points out the importance of once you've collated this evidence, all right, he says before you can even share that, there's probably some norms or some rules that you actually need to teach your jury or teach the people, your audience, the people that you are sharing this evidence with, teach them some rules about the evidence, okay? And so he says there's three things he says that he wants you to know when you are sharing this evidence. He says teach them to understand, just like Marco, because Marco was saying, yeah, but the book, this guy's an expert in what he's saying about the claims about Jesus, that he's not the Messiah and he's not a God. And so J. Warner Wallace says, look, just because some people claim to be experts and just because they put it in a book, he says rules about evidence is this: just because someone writes it in a book, it doesn't mean it's true. And so you've actually got to do some research about evidence to support what it is people are claiming, because just because they put it in writing, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Number two, he says everything has the potential to be evidence. Okay, he points that out. And he says, number three, here's a third rule: the more cumulative the case, the more reasonable the conclusion. So cumulative case is when you have evidence that you have surmounting evidence or evidence that piles up that continues to point back to the same thing. And so the book says in chapter 6, you guys had 3 pieces of evidence and claims that were made that all pointed back to the same thing, saying that Jesus is God. He is God. And so the point of a cumulative case and rules about evidence is that that the more evidence that you have to point back to that all points back to the same answer, the higher chance of it being right, that is actually a good case. And so J. Warner Wallace points out that not only do you need to know the people you are communicating to, you also need to possibly teach them these rules about evidence before you can actually present your case, because maybe the evidence they have presented hasn't actually been matched up to these rules when it comes to evidence. And so you probably need to do the same when you are presenting, when you are got ready to communicate what you have found when you're sharing about your case for Jesus and Christianity. But I really like how this chapter ends, because as J. Warner Wallace is teaching them about learning how to communicate the evidence that they have collated, he then also says, but look, I do want you to be prepared that as you communicate this information, as you communicate this evidence, you've got to remember that maybe not everyone is willing to hear the truth. And for whatever reason that might be, you still need to be prepared that they may not be willing to accept what you present, even if it is evidentially and well supported. They may still wrestle with it. And for them, the cadets asked, well, what do we do if Marco's not willing to accept the truth and the evidence that we present? Then J. Warner Wallace says a couple of things, and it's something that I have found encouragement in, but also something I want to encourage you with. If you found yourself at the place where maybe you've shared the truth, you've shared the evidence, and still your friend isn't willing to accept, continue to share your case as the opportunity presents itself, but don't just share it through the words that you say. Rely upon the power of God to be what is working. So you need to really pray that the seeds through the words that you say continue to be watered in the heart of your friend or your friends. But even more so, know this, that your friend is going to be watching as to whether what you say is actually going to match how you live. Because the greater testimony to match what you say is how you choose to then live out what you have shared in your belief. And so what I've learned is that the power of God doesn't only just work through the truth that you share, the power of God also works the way you choose to live that truth, the way that you choose to live the power of God in your life. So your friend may not necessarily just be convinced to accept Jesus Christ through the things that you share about the truth of Jesus Christ. They will also, when you choose to live that truth, when you choose to live the truth of Jesus Christ and the power that he has in your life in a very real way, your friends will question and want to have what you have, because you choose to live differently, but you choose to live differently because you have Jesus Christ in your life. So I want to leave you with that. I have 2 questions that I will put up or 3 actually, that you can share with your family. And then at the end of your time together, I'll leave you to then pray with mum or dad, or mum and dad, on your family. And then as you go about the rest of this week, may you be blessed. May God continue to guide you and give you the courage to ensure that how you choose to think and the things that you share about what you believe in God, that your walk also matches your talk. All right? God bless XCell High. Love you guys. And may you have a really, really awesome week. All right? Enjoy your time with your family. Blessings, fams. Laters. Yup.
Maybe I succeeded a little. I jumped up from the floor to the middle. You think I want the credit, I don't, 'cause the glory ain't made for me, no. But I know who sits on the throne, who makes the stage and writes the songs. And I know I couldn't do this on my own. And as much as I complain, I've seen more sunshine than rain. And I could thank my lucky stars, but that's not where my blessings are. No, they come from the Father's heart, not the sky, not chance. But truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. 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 Today I'm in a happy place, and I know it didn't happen by my knees and I say that I'm grateful when every morning starts. So I don't thank my lucky stars, 'cause that's not where my blessings are. No, they come from the Father's heart, not the sky, not chance. But truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. Yeah, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. I'm not lucky, I'm loved. I'm not lucky, I'm loved. From the very beginning, this life that I'm living was part of your plan all along. So I don't thank my lucky stars, 'cause that's not where my blessings are. No, they come from the Father's heart, not the sky, not chance. But truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. 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 Oh, see, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. Yeah, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. I'm not lucky, I'm loved. I'm not lucky, I'm loved. Oh, see, yes, Jesus loves me. See, yes, Jesus loves me. See, yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me I'm not lucky, I'm loved. I'm not lucky, I'm loved. Oh, no, I'm not lucky, I'm loved. I'm not lucky, I'm loved. Come on, one more time. Let me hear you sing, yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, say yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me so. It tells me so. Hey, one more time, let me hear you say yes, Jesus loves me. Come on, Chicago, let me hear you say yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, say yes, Jesus loves me. Come on, sing yes, yeah, come on, clap your hands in it. Yeah, come on, sing. I thank you for always loving me. I thank you for always loving me. Lord, I thank you for always loving me. Yeah, I thank you for always loving me. The way that you love me. See, I don't thank my lucky stars, 'cause that's not where My blessings are, no, they come from the Father's heart, not the sky, not chance. But truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved.